it for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
all in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida.tv. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Matt Ohayon back with you on the Sick Podcast on this Thursday night. Boy, oh boy, if you stuck around for that entire game like I did, you are going to have a rough day at work tomorrow because I not only had to stay up past that snooze fest to talk to you, but then I got to wind down after the show and wake up early for work tomorrow. So that's going to be a tough one because that game did nothing to energize me or inspire me. Wow. So we're going to talk about it, but we're going to take care of some business first. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Energy Transportation Group has recently been named by Deloitte and CIBC as one of Canada's best managed companies. The country's leading business award recognizing innovative and world-class companies. The business best managed Canadian companies designation fuels Energy's purpose for creating progress for our customers, our employees, and our communities. Join a winning team and check out Energy's career page for available opportunities. We're also brought to you by Playground. Experience the world-renowned Playground poker experience with free food and drinks at their cash games tables. A bad beat jackpot that's already over $700,000 after the world record-setting amount of $2,590,000 was won on August 2nd. Weekly promotions, daily tournaments, and unmatched customer service. Why play anywhere else? Located just over the Mercier Bridge, only minutes away from downtown Montreal. Playground. We're also brought to you by, of course, La Bitte TB Beer, brewed in Quebec and a winner of a dozen international awards. La Bitte TB offers quality microbrewery beers made with premium ingredients for everyone's taste. La Bitte TB, embrace your true nature. We also have a new sponsor, so we're excited to welcome Accent Insurance Solutions as a new sponsor of the Sick Podcast. You know all insurance isn't created equal, and you know where to find the right solution for you. Accent Insurance. Accent doesn't sell insurance. They shop insurance for you to find the right product, right on the money, whatever your insurance needs, home, auto, or business. Call the Accent team today and get the right solution at the right price. Visit their website at accentassurance.com. That's because assurance in French. All right, let's talk about the game because there was a lot. I thought it was going to be a good game for the Canadians. You know, I thought me and Stu, after what we said on Wednesday night, Tuesday night against the Dallas Stars, I should say, we're going to be wrong because, we both said it's probably going to be a tough game and for the Canadians because, they're coming back from a long road trip. Back at home against a divisional opponent. That divisional opponent's not a very good team. Classic trap game scenario because the Canadians also don't play very well at home. Listen, the first 5 minutes, I thought that they were going to be in for a really good night and make Stu and I look like a couple of idiots. But alas, then after just about the 5-minute mark, it was Victor Olofsson of the Buffalo Sabres who rang a shot off the iron. And I said, oh, okay. They're not going to be pushed around tonight. And lo and behold, the rest of the night is history. And that's a 6-1 victory for the Buffalo Sabres. Okay, let's break it all down. Very excited to talk to him because this is my first time in about a year and a half of filling in for Tony and working on Fridays. and I've never spoken to him before. So let's get to it. Mr. Grant McCagg of Recruit Prospects. How are we doing?
Hey, yeah, they've kept us apart for some reason. I don't know why, Matt, but hey, glad to finally get to chat with you about the Habs. I wish it was a little better circumstances, but
yeah. Well, that's it. It was. I mean, listen. I don't know about you. When I logged on and said hello to producer Shane off air, I said to him. He goes, "I missed most of the game." I go, "You're lucky," because it was a 6-1 score. But what I said was, and let me know if you agree with this assessment. I said they didn't deserve to lose 6-1, but they also didn't deserve to score more than 1 or 2 goals. So
yeah, well, that's fair. And Buffalo hit a couple of posts too, so those go in. Maybe they did deserve to lose 6-1. I found the forward support was lacking a bit, especially in the third period tonight. They just they didn't seem to be getting back. Buffalo, the forwards were outnumbering. Defensemen. It was a lot of 3-on-2s in their own zone, and I mean that was wholly predictable. I was having a look at the. Because it just seems like they go on a long road trip over Christmas just about every year. And seven times over the past, since 2016, they've went on an extended road trip at Christmas, New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 of those times when they came back home, first game back, they lost. Now, you factor in that they were playing against Jeff Skinner. And facing a Montreal-born goaltender for the first time. I don't know what the stats are for that, but it seems like every single time a Montreal or even Quebec-born goalie comes back to Montreal, he stands on his head, especially the first time. So if I was a betting man, I don't bet on games, but I would have put money on Buffalo tonight.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment, especially because that the goalie for the Buffalo Sabres tonight. It's always nice to hear there's a hometown guy coming to town. Well, this guy not only is a hometown guy, but I'm a little partial. He went to my to my elementary school. We went to the same elementary school.
Oh, really?
A little older than him, of course. We weren't there at the same time, but same elementary schools, Hebrew Foundation School in Dollard des Ormeaux. So.
Wow.
So that's
okay.
It's a big deal for Hebrew Foundation School, as you can imagine. So that was cool to see, but it was also cool to see him perform at a very high level.
Well,
that's a pressure-packed game for a young goaltender, probably playing in front of a ton of family and friends.
I have a connection too that he played in Carleton Place for a couple of years there in CCHL, and I grew up in Renfrew, and it's valley towns, right? Ottawa Valley, a very close small towns that are, on the outskirts of Ottawa. So I kind of always follow kids that go that route, I got to play one game in the CJHL back. I got called up from midget hockey, a long time ago, because played against Steve Yzerman, actually, in the PN Sportsplex, and they blew us out. But I mean, that was my impetus to, okay, I'm not going to make it as a hockey star. When I saw, when I got out on the ice against Steve Yzerman, and he was 15 and I was 17, and he was skating circles around me, okay, I'm not going to have a career as an NHL player. I better go to college.
I mean, I'd say, listen, it worked out for you, because now you're leading one of the biggest prospects magazines in the country. So I congratulate you for that. Let's dive a little bit more into the game, because I agree with you that there was not a lot of forward support, especially at the end. I found the Canadians really, they were hanging on, and that goal by Yoel Armia kind of injected a little bit of life into them. To me, I didn't really feel that they were still going to win the game. Like I said, maybe they could push this thing to overtime after that goal. But the wheels really fell off after the third goal. I found that's when I said, okay, they're going to blow this thing wide open. And lo and behold, that's what happened.
Yeah, for sure. It was there weren't a lot of really terrible performances, I didn't think. Like you know, normally in a 6-1 game you can point to a bunch of guys that had really poor games. That I mean the penalties again, right? It seems to kill them. I don't know. I think they need to make some changes on the penalty kill there, because they were 31st, and I saw the tweet from Stu tonight saying by the end of the night they could be 32nd, you know, and they might be. So I think when you're last in the league in a statistic, it's time to maybe change the players that you've got, you know, doing the task. I think Slafkovsky's been playing really well defensively the last month. And I'm a little surprised that they haven't at least tried him on the PK up till now, because he's playing very well defensively. Well, for the most part, I think he had 2 defensive giveaways tonight in his own zone. So maybe it wasn't his best game defensively tonight, but I wouldn't mind seeing the kid out killing some penalties, because I think they need to change the personnel up a bit.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I found one thing that definitely needs to change is, listen, again, this is reacting to a 6-1 game off of a long road trip that usually doesn't do any favors for the Canadians, and they went 500 on it, so good for them.
Yeah.
But the 11 forward, 7 defensemen, that needs to end. That needs to end.
No, I don't like it. Defensemen, I know for a fact that defensemen don't like it. You know, most of them, they could play 20 plus minutes a night, most defensemen, and 7, you're trying to, and then there's hard to get cohesion on the forward lines. I know they kept, you know, they kept the Slafkovsky, Suzuki, Caulfield line together, and then kind of mixed and matched everything else, but it's hard to get chemistry when you got different line mates just about every shift.
Well, it's that, and just, you know, it's already, you know, tough when you play you deploy a forward for, you know, 10 or less minutes a night, and then you're deploying another defenseman in Kovacevic for, you know, just over 8 minutes.
Yeah,
I read a comment. It was actually before we went on the air. It was during the countdown. It was from YouTube. I think his name is Jason Teal. He wrote this in. He said he's had enough of Kovacevic, and Barron needs to go down. And frankly, I wrote it on my paper. I thought Kovacevic or Barron was going to be sent down for a forward now that they were back in Montreal and Laval was so close. I was pretty surprised that they went with the same lineup and all they changed was the goaltender.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, Kovacevic would have to clear waivers, right? So probably lose him if you tried to send him down. Harris is still eligible, but I don't see him getting sent down. So, I mean, it would be Barron, I guess, if you did. But I don't know. Barron's it's always a bit of a sticky situation when, you know, that was the GM's plum return from his first big trade, right? And typically you got to kind of, you know, would it burn his ears if Barron got sent down? You know, I mean, I know you shouldn't look at it that way, but I think if you're a coach, you got to kind of please your GM too, right? So I don't know. I was surprised that Barron wasn't sent down at the start of the year. So that to me told me that, you know, they're giving him maybe a little bit of favorable treatment because giving him the benefit of the doubt because he was the guy traded for Lehkonen. But to his credit, when he did get into the lineup, he popped some goals and he was playing pretty well. But we've seen a regression in his game, I think, especially when he's pressured in his own zone the last month or so. Just a lot of turnovers and mistakes. And I think he really hasn't played a heck of a lot of pro games yet still. And I don't think it would hurt him to get some more AHL seasoning, and it would help to solve that 7-11 dilemma, and then call up somebody as well, which I'm not sure who. I mean, nobody's exactly tearing it up in Laval right now, but maybe Hyndman back up. As long as they're not playing him 5-6 minutes like they were the 2 games that he came up to, I don't like to see these guys get called up and then barely play, because you want them developing still too. So I don't know. Heineman or Heineman, I'm not sure. I've heard both pronunciations. I think they go with Heiskanen now. When he first came into the league, they said
Heiskanen, right. Heiskanen, now it's Heiskanen. Yeah, that's
so
right.
now you're hearing Heineman. So, well, it's one of the two. I think you know who I'm talking about, whichever. But maybe Condotta. Blaine Potvin was mentioning that today, and that he thought that it might be Elias Anderson, but he's just back from injury and he hasn't got a point in last 7 games. I don't know. Doesn't really deserve to get called up. To me, I think you just bring up another center, because you can never have too many centers, and he replaces Dvorak, Condotta, if you bring him in, and then you can keep the Anderson, Evans, Monahan line together, and the top 2 units aren't mixed up at all, and you're just subbing in a guy on the 3rd line. I mean, nothing. I don't think anything's ideal right now. They don't really have the ideal guy to call up, I don't think. But I do agree that the 11-7, I'm not a big fan of it, and I hope that they change it up next game.
And I don't know. Like you said, you said, as a coach, sometimes you got to appease your GM, and we're seeing that, because with the 3 goalie system, that's forever a topic of conversation. And the other thing is just you'd have to think that the 11-7 thing is also an appeasement, because, like you said, Kovacevic, if you send him down, you probably lose him on waivers. You don't want to send Jadon Struble down because he's playing too well. You don't want to send Jordan Harris down because he's just got back from injury and he's playing very well. And then that leaves Justin Barron, who you just said, you want to appease the GM. That it's, I feel like with the 3 goalie system and now the 11-7 thing, it really feels like, I know Kent Hughes likes to maximize his asset management and his asset and what he can get for his assets, but he's got to throw Martin St. Louis a bone. Yeah, at least that's what it feels like. Yeah.
And that, maybe trade a goalie and a defenseman, get a forward. That's the other option. It's out there. There's teams looking for goalies. I know Elliot Friedman mentioned a few days ago that Hughes has his price for Allen, or I assume it's Allen that would be who's dealt, because I don't see a team in need of a goalie to bolster their lineup to roll the dice on Primo, because he's just too unproven at the NHL level. It's got to be Allen, and they keep Montembeault. I'd be surprised if it's Montembeault that gets traded. But do they do something like package Harrison or whoever, Kovacevic and Allen, and pick up a forward? I mean, that would solve the 11-7 thing as well, right? And then fill the hole. That I think there's a need right now for another forward in the top 6. Now, I don't know whether if they can get that or not, but maybe you can get a young forward from a team. It seems like Hughes likes to make those deals to get the Newhook, Barron, young guys that maybe weren't getting full opportunity where they were, and they get it in Montreal. A young guy that hasn't cracked the top 6 of a good team yet, that a team might be willing to trade for goaltending and defense depth. And I think he's probably exploring those options, but Typically the trades happen a little closer to the deadline, when it's a little more certain about who's going to be in the playoffs and who's falling out.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and I think I with the goalie thing that you said, there a lot of teams are looking for goalies, and that they're probably going to take the shot on Allen versus Primo. And the other thing is, a lot of people are still fixated on Edmonton, on Carolina. Those are the two big ones that I hear being thrown around. I'm sure if maybe a couple months ago this was true, if the Montreal Canadiens were not located with Montreal and they were located in a different city, I'm sure Toronto would be inserted in that conversation as well. But I really think it's going to be a team that just needs a guy to take the pressure off of their number one. And just if things get crazy, goes on a bit of a slide, it's you have the job. Just take a breather. Let the KG veteran who's been around the block a couple times take the pressure off you.
Yeah, that's possible. I think LA. I've read that LA might be one of the teams that's looking for a goalie as well, and maybe maybe there's somebody that Bergevin's banging the table for there in LA. You never know.
Yeah, listen, I mean, it would work for him, right? Get Jake Allen back in the picture with Philip Danault, get the gang back together. Well, why not?
Yeah, order a pizza and go from there.
It'd be just like old times.
Yeah.
But what I find, I want to circle back to what you said, just moving back to the game, because another point I agree with was that you can't really pinpoint someone that had a bad game, really. But I feel like we could pinpoint a couple guys who had some good games. Frankly, I think Yoel Armia. I mean, that's the obvious one. It felt like Brian Mudryk on the TSN broadcast was saying his name every 3 minutes because he was all over the ice. He played a pretty good game. Jesse Ilonen. Or Ilonen, he played a good game. Josh Anderson missed the net on a couple chances, but I thought he brought some oomph to the offensive side. Pizzetta was hitting. Struble, until he gave away the puck on the last goal, or on the last goal on Jake Allen, on the fourth goal, I should say, was having an okay game. But other than that, there was really nothing that said, "Oh, okay, this guy is gonna bring the Canadiens or will the Canadiens back into the fight."
Yeah. I find Monahan the last month or so was, he's had a couple of decent games, but he hasn't been as good as he was earlier in the year, and that's hurt a bit. The top line wasn't maybe rolling like they have been in recent games to a certain extent, and the Canadiens need those guys to be the best line to win most nights, I think, because they're providing most of the offense. They had a few chances, but it was a kind of a, they had some defensive lapses as well, and the passes weren't clicking maybe like they have been in recent games. But I thought Struble the first half was really good, throwing the body especially. Mm-hmm. And then in the second half, there wasn't just the fourth goal. There was a couple of, I actually saw my first real glaring turnover from him about midway through the second period. And I said, oh, that's the first time I've really seen him, cough up the puck like, I don't know, Jordy Ben-like or something, where it just, Jordy was good for one of those every couple of games, right? And but I mean, I'll take it. If every 20 games he's got a glaring turnover or two, because he's been the steadiest. As far as I'm concerned, he's been the steadiest defenseman since he was in the lineup.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that, because I really like Jaden Struble, and it's, he's probably the main reason why the Canadiens are in this 11-7 conundrum. And also that it's just there's just such a log jam, and this has got to be exciting. If you want to take a positive, you want to spin this positively because that's what we like to do. Is there's such a log jam with young defensemen in the Canadian system that it was written in The Athletic and by Arpon Basu, and he said it again on the broadcast at the intermission, is that Canadians fans are probably going to have to get used to seeing players that are in Laval on the defensive side, at least for now. We'll see about the offensive side in a couple of years, but for now, on the defensive side of the puck, they're going to have to get used to seeing some players that probably shouldn't be down there. Like, Arbor Jacki has been playing really well in Laval as of late. I think he has 8 points in 10 games, or vice versa. And after a rocky start, Logan Mayhew's play has been picking up. Like, all these guys probably deserve a chance, but who are you going to take out of the lineup that you're not going to lose for nothing? And it's tough because those guys. It would be Jaden Struble. You're not going to take him out of the lineup. And you're not going to drop the other guys that down out either. So want to spin it positively. It's a good problem to have, but it's a difficult one to manage.
Yeah, absolutely. And Reinbacher and Hudson and Engstrom are all probably going to be in the organization next year. Mm-hmm. And then it's only going to be more of a logjam, right? So that's why I think at least one defenseman's going to be cleared out here before the trade deadline. Probably two. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see which ones they are, but I have to think. I think Savard will probably be gone.
Yeah.
I know Tony thinks that it'll be next trade deadline, but there's just you got to give spots to guys, and I think they've earned it. And Savard will probably get the best return. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's steady, solid, good in the playoffs. There's going to be a team that probably will offer you a first-round pick for him. If not, it'll be a second plus. Pretty sure. So I think Savard will be gone. Kovacevic, if they can find a deal, I imagine will be traded too. And one of the left defensemen, if they're comfortable with Harris on the right and he's looked good on his offside so far, mm-hmm. then they may not have to deal one of the left guys at this point. But Arbor looks like he should be called back up. Like he's playing.
Oh yeah.
He stopped taking the dumb penalties, and I think that was one of the main reasons why he was sent down. I think he got the message loud and clear. I had a look at his. I have Instat, and I can see the shifts of these guys. And I looked at some of his recent games, and he looks like an NHLer playing in the AHL right now. So
yeah,
they'll probably want to get him back up before the end of the year, I think. So there's going to have to be some moves.
Well, it's funny you say. It's funny you said Savard because Stu Cowan and I, who generally chat every Friday night, we've said it's David Savard, and it wouldn't be it's someone you could wait on. But I did have the thought tonight that maybe they're going to leave Arbor Jacki down in Laval until they can trade David Savard away, because he's looking good. Very similar type of player. Obviously, he doesn't bring the veteran presence and steadiness that David Savard brings, but it's a very similar type of player. And J.F. Houle had very nice things to say about Arbor Jacki. So I think that might be that could be a scenario that I see playing out.
Yeah. Well, I think he's helping. He's paired with Mayu, and I think they're finding some chemistry, and he's helping Mayu. Like, I think he's, big brother almost type thing for Mayu, even though they're basically the same age, I guess. Or I guess maybe he's 1 year older than Mayu, but I think he's helping helping Mayu and keep those guys together to help get. They want Laval to get in the playoffs, right? And it's the top 5 teams from the division, so they're right in the, like, they were out for a while, but they've been on a good streak lately, and they're right back in the playoff hunt. So they could get major reinforcements at the end of the year, and if they make the playoffs, they can make some noise this year. So I think the goal is to get in the playoffs, and certainly having a pairing of Mayu and Jacky is going to help them. It's going to help them do that immensely. So there's no big rush, I don't think, to bring back Jacky, because the defense core for the most part's been playing pretty well, and the young guys are playing well on the left. I mean, he's not beating out any of the 3 guys on the left right now. You know, Matheson, Gooley, and Struble. There's no spot for him there right now, and I don't think he can play on the right. I wouldn't put him in that spot. So maybe he stays down till the trade deadline, and Kovacevic and Savard, or Savard and Harris, or whatever, or maybe just Savard gets dealt at that point, and then you bring him back up.
Yeah, it's and it's a tough situation, because it's like you want to stick to the plan, right? If you're Kent Hughes, and they refuse to say the P word before the season, that being playoffs, and but listen, they're in the mix. Whether they plan for it or not, they're in the mix, and games like tonight, when you are eventually talking playoffs, before the season, this is one of those games that's an unacceptable result, because this is a team that's down in the standings. They're further below you in the standings, and you drop 2 points to them that you could have had. If you put forward a better effort, you could have had. So it's a tough position for Hughes, and I just got to think that he's got to throw the team a bone. Like, I'm not saying go out and, trade 5 defensive blue chip prospects here for a star forward. I'm saying, like, just throw the team a bone, go get someone who can, just give the team a little bit of a morale boost, boost of scoring. They need it. And they're in the mix, and it'd be I feel like it'd be a good learning experience for a young group like this to be on a playoff push, probably knowing that you're probably not going to make it, but you're there. Right. You're right there.
Well, I really have a difficult time seeing them down the stretch making the playoffs with Jake Evans in a top 6 role. There has to be a replacement there. They need to find someone that can take that spot and bring Jake back down the 4th line, or wherever he's best suited. Credit to the team and to the coaching staff and the players for remaining in the hunt, with Newhook out, with Doc out, with Harvey Pinard out, now Dvorak out. I mean, there a lot of hits to especially the center. So it looks very unlikely that they'll make the playoffs. They've got to climb over 6 teams or something like that. I mean, they're only 6 points out, but there's 6 teams between them and that playoff spot, or 5, or at least. And that just that's almost impossible math when you also consider that they really don't have the horses right now with all the injuries, I don't think, and they don't have the call-ups. So I don't think he can. If they want to make a serious playoff push and keep trying, I think he's got to make a trade soon. I don't think he can wait till the deadline. And I think there's teams that want goaltending now. So I don't know if he can find that piece or not, but I'm sure he's looking, and he's doing a lot of calling.
Oh yeah, well, he's probably, that was something that I think the insiders on TSN always love to say was that Marc Bergevin was always one of the active ones, but with
Kicking
with
tires.
all the exactly, but with all the trades that Kent Hughes makes, I better believe that he's one of the busier ones, because
Yeah, for sure.
there are pieces on this team that are desirable to other teams. And for the people that are demolishing me in the comments for saying that they're in the mix, like, they are in the mix for a playoff push.
Well,
It's just where they are. There's no one's pulling away, but they're not going to make it, because now we're seeing the injuries really catch up to them.
Yeah, for sure. If they had Doc all year, I think they'd be right there. Like, that was just such a key injury for them. They'd have a good top six, and but they just don't have those six. They don't have six players that can compete with other teams' top six, and that's just so important. And until they have that, I think they're just going to be a little bit shy. Despite having a good defense, despite the goalies playing well, despite the team playing well, there's just not enough firepower there. Yeah.
But you know what? We're seeing some things on the way. At least look to the future. Again, it's very tough for Canadiens fans that are impatient. People are mad, and you know what? I don't blame them, but people have been clamoring for a rebuild forever, and this is literally what a rebuild is. Like, it's all fun and games to watch a rebuild from afar, and you could say, oh, look at Edmonton, they were bad forever. Well, they also got two of the best hockey players on their team in the world, and they're still not very good. And it doesn't always work out like that. They had some good seasons, but it doesn't always work out. They're trying to do it the right way, and it's painful to go through. But this is, only year two of a full year two. It's 2.5 if you want to count the half year that Kent Hughes was brought in. But
yeah,
this is the reality of a rebuild. It's tough, and unfortunately, one thing the Canadiens just cannot shake is they improved the power play. That's good. Nick Suzuki is almost on a point per game pace. The defense are chipping in offensively at a remarkable pace. One thing they can't shake year over year is that injury bug, because man, oh man, they've been bitten and bitten and bitten again by it.
It's crazy. I thought, the law of averages said, after, having the most injuries by far the last 2 years, that this year, bottom 15 in injuries, and here they go again. Change the whole medical staff, so you can't blame it on, it's not there. It's just bad luck, and it's sooner or later that'll turn around. But no, they've been struck again, so it's unfortunate, but they probably weren't winning a cup this year regardless. And I always try to look at things optimistically, and being in the scouting business and draft business, they're likely going to end up with a top 10 pick, and they're going to get a hell of a forward, whoever that might be.
So let's talk about that. Let's get into that a little bit. We're going to start with a hell of a forward who's, we mentioned it briefly, who's on the team already. Juraj Slafkovsky, really, really like what he's been showing as of late. He's getting a lot of praise for it, and it's deserved praise. It's not some of the coddling stuff where they're talking about him like, oh, he's playing okay, he's having good shift here, I thought he did this okay. No, he's genuinely playing very good hockey right now. Very, very good to see. Pierre Maguire actually said on another Sick podcast, he said that his ceiling is about 30 to 35 goals, 65, 75 points. Agree or disagree?
I don't know. I think he's a really good playmaker. I think he's more likely to get 45 to 50 assists than he is to get 35 goals at this point. Until until he learns that starts to show that he can snipe at the NHL level. That I've been a lot more impressed by his playmaking than his goal scoring so far. That's for sure. And I mean, I know at the Olympics he was great. He was scoring goals, and he does have a great shot. And we're starting to see signs of him using it a little more effectively and more often. But he's a really good playmaker, and he likes to. He's such an unselfish player. You know, he loves to get the puck. He loves to dish it off to the guys. He makes a pile of really good passes, and that to me is an indication that he's going to be a good playmaking winger who can hit 40 plus assists in his prime, especially on the, you know, if Caulfield gets back to his 40 to 50 goal a year pace that we thought last year. I think he's still recovering a bit from his shoulder surgery and stuff, and it's coming, but it's going to take a bit of time. I can see him. I mean, I don't like to make those point predictions, but
yeah,
you know, 25 to 35 goals, 40 to 50 assists. Might be a point per game guy, might be just under that, but he's going to bring so many other elements to his game, especially at playoff time. I think he'll thrive. He may not be a point per game player in the regular season all the time, but I think I could see him, if the Canadians ever do get successful and go on some playoff runs, being a one of the top scoring playoff performers in the league. And that's ultimately what you want from a high pick.
Yeah, I agree. What I love
good.
about your yeah, you know, it's good that we agree on a lot of things. I like that. But you know, I what I really like is, so I agree with you on the playmaking abilities. I think that has really taken a big step. I really would love to see him be a little more selfish. Like, he had a shot on the power play. I forget which period it was, but he just like it was, you know, a rocket. And a friend of mine texted in one of my group chats, and he goes, "Why doesn't Slav shoot the puck more?" Or
I know,
"He has a cannon." And it's like, you want to see that, because, you know, you use that more often. Like, can you be an effective player for this team right now? Well, you already are, but even more.
Sorry, encouraging thing too was that Matheson actually started passing the puck to him on the power play too. I don't know what the deal was there, but it seemed like he was allergic to passing it. Caulfield would have two guys covering him, and Matheson would either try to shoot it through three defensemen or three defenders, or pass it to a covered Caulfield constantly. I think he finally got the memo and got said, hey, there's a guy open on the other side there that has a good shot, believe it or not. He may not be scoring goals, but he can shoot the puck. And he got it over to him a lot more tonight, and we got to see that rocket that he does have. And I think they'll start to go in. He's still learning. He's got to work on his release. He's got to work on finding the seams, you know, the lanes to shoot. He gets a lot of shots blocked. But he's got a hard, accurate shot. We saw it at 17 at the Olympics and in the World Championships, and it's not like that went away. He's just learning. He's learning how to score at the NHL level, and that can take time. But I am more, at this point anyways, I am more optimistic about him becoming a very good playmaker, because we see it every game. He makes nice passes. So I think he's going to pile up a lot of assists in his career. Yeah.
I really think, you know, it's so hard to forget that he's only 19 years old. I feel like a lot of people forget that, you know, but it's the way it goes. Things move quickly in the NHL, and you know, he's learning very quickly about how impatient fans can be, and that not all, as Stu Cowan likes to say, not all first overall picks are created equally. Another you know, again, just more prospect talk. A guy who had a very good World Junior is the other Slovakian first round pick by the Canadians that year, Philip Mešár. 7 points in 5 games, I think it was, or 9 points in 5 games, or
9. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a very, very good tournament. Canadians fans got to feel good about that one.
Yeah, for sure. And, battled away from the puck, played well away from the puck, I thought, too. Clutch. He scored that clutch goal to tie it up late. He seems to make clutch plays, a lot of clutch plays, and I like that part of his game. He's got top 6 upside, and going into the season, it's funny, and it happens every year. The prospects yo-yo back and forth a bit. Going into camp, didn't have a great camp, didn't have a great development camp, and you're thinking, didn't produce last year in Kitchener like perhaps people, after starting out great there, we thought, oh, he's going to be a 2-point a game guy, and he slowed down. And so, was a better prospect for sure. And, back, and now the two of those guys have slowed down some, and Mešár's picked it up, and now he looks like he might be the better prospect. So it happens every year that there, the inconsistencies of a young player that's developing, and having to be patient and not trying to pigeonhole a guy based on 1 year, because there's going to be good years and bad years. And I do a top 20, top 30 Habs prospect list, and it changes every 2 months. You can change guys 5-6 spots up and down, and we have to keep in mind that these prospects are young. They're going to have ups and downs. They're going to have peaks and valleys, and you just have to be patient and wait till they get to the team and hope that they fulfill their potential.
So you mentioned him. He's in trade talk tonight. Looks like he's getting traded, Mr. Owen Beck. How much, like, we saw the returns on who was it, Connor Geekie, and who was the other one who got Matt Savoy? Yeah, they got traded essentially for every pick for the next 3-4 years. What's Owen Beck like? What's he looked like? Because nobody on Canada other than Macklin Celebrini really had that good of a tournament, I found. So what's his how's he been playing in the OHL this year, and what's that going to mean for the team acquiring him in I think it's the Saginaw Spirit?
Yeah, looks like he's going to be going to back-to-back Memorial Cups. Not too many prospects get to go 2 World Juniors in a row and 2 Memorial Cups in a row the same years. It's kind of a fairly rare, so that's kind of neat. It'll be great experience for him. He hasn't probably produced like we'd hoped, and he didn't produce at the World Juniors, being the one returning player. I think maybe we were hoping for a little more offense from him there, but ultimately that's not going to be what he is. He's not. I don't think he's going to be a top 6. Certainly, I don't think he's going to be a second-line center in the NHL, and that's fine. I think he can be a third-line center on a contending team and help you win face-offs, play a great two-way game, play physically, smart, a lot of competitiveness, and just a coach's dream. Do what I know he's impressed Marty at both training camps, and I suspect that he'll do the same thing next year when he. The thing with he got a great return last year too when he got dealt last year to Peterborough, and they ended up winning the OHL, but it was a boatload of draft picks. And the different thing with the OHL is that they have a rule where they can't trade first rounders. So it ends up being you can see some trades where it's like 10 to 12 draft picks, right? And it's just ridiculous. It'll be like second rounders up till 2028 or something like that, right? And so you can expect that it'll be eight plus draft picks probably coming back in return for Beck when he goes to Saginaw.
And listen, any more playoff experience, doesn't matter at what level it is, it's always helpful. Always helpful. One guy who's going to get a little more World Junior experience, a big stage experience in the Canadian system, probably score sheet wise, having an underwhelming tournament, that's okay. Listen, I remember back in the day when Tony and I worked on the radio together, we were talking when the sky was really falling in Canadians land. I think Cole Caulfield had 1 or 2 goals in the World Juniors the year after he got drafted, or no goals. And we were throwing our hands in the air going, oh my God, when it rains, it really pours in Montreal. And Lane Hudson not really lighting up the lamp like people were expecting. How have you seen his game, though, throughout the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a point a game, so that's not bad for a defenseman. But
it's not bad, but it's just there were some expectations. Like I read an article the entire article.
I know.
The headline caught me that he's supposed to break records and all this stuff, and I'm like,
he'll be the MVP and
exactly,
top defenseman, and he's what's been funny is that while he hasn't lit it up offensively and he hasn't had any goals yet, he was out there in the 6-4 at the end of the game protecting the 1-goal lead today. He was on the first PK. He's been on the first PK the whole tournament. So he's one of the U.S., and you wouldn't have predicted that going into the tournament, I don't think, that he'd end up being their defensive stalwart, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm not worried about his offense. I know he's got that. I know that it's there. What the concern is defense, and he's stepped up and been fantastic in that regard at the World Juniors. So to me, again, as someone that likes to look at things a little more positively than most, I think it's encouraging that he's had an excellent tournament defensively. I talked to his Adam Nightingale. We had him on we do a draft cast there, the SICK Recruits draft cast, and he was his under-18 coach a couple of years ago, and he was telling me like he thinks that he will play a top 4 role, even strength at the NHL level, that he'll get it done. Just he's so competitive. And the interesting thing that he brought up was the fact that he's got about a 62 or 63 inch wingspan, which for his height is unusual. Like his hands go down below the knees type thing, right? And you noticed it out there. I was keeping an eye on it today, especially. Like he's got a long stick and he's got a good reach. So he gets to a lot of pucks that typically it's larger defensemen, taller defensemen get to. And he's so smart, and he gets on the right side of the puck, and he reads the play well, and he positions himself really well. His defense at the World Juniors has been very good, and people don't typically watch a player away from the puck, so they don't really notice it. But the fact that the U.S. coach is putting him out there 6-on-4 at the end of the game, protecting the lead, tells you that he's playing good defense. So I think that's very encouraging.
And I feel like that's encouraging for a lot of Canadians fans to hear, because a lot of people, it's tough when you're not watching every game, as not everyone can, and then you just see point totals. It was really heading into these the medal rounds that he wasn't lighting the world ablaze, and now he's playing point per game, so that's good. But it's just coming into the tournament. You're reading like, oh, he's going to break this record. He's going to do this, that. And then it's, you fall really short. Little bit discouraging, but I think that can put some Canadiens fans' minds at ease.
I believe he had 2 primary assists today. He tends to be a clutch player, right? And he came up big with at least 1 primary assist today. They won 3-2. I'm just having a quick look here. I don't know if they awarded him with that or not. Yes, he had. They only gave him 1. Okay, so he had 1 primary assist today, but he was really good. He was really good today, and I bet you I would not be surprised if he scores a winning goal again tomorrow. He's just so clutch. I've seen it at Boston U over the last 2 years. He's like 4th in NCAA in game-winning goals, and that's unheard of for a defenseman, right? And a lot of them overtime. The game's close, and U.S. has a chance to win. It would not surprise me if he ends up getting a golden goal. He's just he rises to the occasion. We've seen it time and time again, and I have not been disappointed in his World Junior at all.
Well, there you go. Take it from the expert, Habs fans. Nothing to worry about. Grant, I want to thank you for joining me on this Thursday evening post-game edition of the Montreal Canadiens losing 6-1. You stuck it out for the entire 6-1 loss, just like I did, and I appreciate that. And it was great talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
All right, that was Grant McCagg of the Sick Podcast Network and also recruits the Prospect Ranking magazine. Thank you all for joining me. I will be back tomorrow, and we'll continue the conversation then about the Montreal Canadiens in the week that was. Tony is back on Monday, so just for those of you who aren't aware, maybe you didn't know, but Tony is on vacation, which is why he's in Portugal. Must be nice. And it's about, I want to say 4 a.m. over there. So he obviously didn't stay up to watch the game. That's why I'm doing game nights on my usual Friday. And you see Tony on the nights where there is no Habs game. Thank you all for listening. I'm back tomorrow.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. La Vida TV, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.